Hi, this is Giridhar for gadgetdetail.com. Today I'm going to talk to you about a phablet, the Asus Zenfone 6. So this is a 6-inch phablet with a dual SIM support and running on Jelly Bean out of the box. The box contains a 1.6 amp wall charger, data cable, and the in-ear headphones with some extra earplugs. The device is quite large. It's a phablet and it is targeted at an audience who likes large phones. Asus Zenfone also comes with smaller sizes and they're called the Zenfone 5 and the 6. Zenfone 5 and the 4. The Zenfone 6 has a large 6-inch IPS display and it's got a 2 megapixel camera on the front with some sensors, notification LED, and the earphone speakers here. And below the display you have the off-screen navigation keys, and the off-screen navigation keys are not backlit, and that's a big issue when I'm using this device in dark situations. And also below on the bottom chin it has a metallic finish which resembles something like the HTC One. The back button is placed at the extreme left side, and me being a right-handed person, I find it a bit difficult to stretch my thumb always to reach for the back button. This is one of the most frequently used buttons in Android, and it would have been good if they placed the back button here like you saw in the OnePlus One. At the base you have the micro USB port and a mic. The right side has the power and the volume button. Again, one needs to stretch the thumb to access the buttons, but the buttons have a metallic finish and they have a decent tactile feedback. On the top you have the 3.5mm audio jack and a noise cancelling mic. The left side has nothing except a small groove to remove the back panel. I'll come back to it later. So at the back you have the 13 megapixel camera which comes with an LED flash, and there are speaker grills here, and though its speaker grills are quite wide here, the actual speaker is pretty small. The back panel is removable, and let me remove it. So place your fingernails in the groove and just remove the back panel. And once the back panel is removed, you will see the slots for micro SIM and the micro SD card, and the micro SIM trays and the SD card trays has some issues with the design. One can easily insert a SIM card or a SD card here, but removing a SD card or SIM card is a bit tricky. This device comes with a large 3300 mAh battery, so you can see the battery on the sides. The battery is not removable, but you can see it, and basically because of the size of the battery they have opted for a design like this. And you can also see the mono speaker here. The speaker is pretty small and it's not very loud. I would have preferred a louder speaker in a device this large, because basically I'd be interested in watching a movie or a YouTube video, and when I have a weak speaker it affects the experience. The device weighs less than 200 grams and it's also little less than 10 mm thick. It's not the thickest and the lightest phones we have seen this year. Let me put back the panel. So the device feels solid. Overall, the build quality and design is not among the best we have seen this year, and the device does feel solid, but the build quality is not premium. So let me go ahead and power up the device here. The display is a large 6-inch display, as the model name indicates. It's a 720p display and has 245 pixels per inch. I would have loved to see this device with a HD display, but nevertheless the display is pretty decent, and the screen is protected by a Corning Gorilla Glass 3. The screen is a fingerprint magnet and it reflects a lot of glare. However, it has decent viewing angles and the direct sunlight visibility is good. The Zen UI offers a feature which can turn on the reading mode. and the display turns a bit warmer, and it's supposed to help easy reading. So let me show you the reading mode. So when I turn reading mode, the display is turning a little bit warmer. And let me open the Kindle app. So on the reading mode, I haven't actually tried reading a book entirely, but my gut feeling is that reading experience will be much better, just because it's got a large screen, and it's got a reading mode which makes the device which gives a better contrast ratio for easy reading, and it goes easy on the eyes. Okay, on the performance side, the Zenfone 6 is powered by the Intel Atom dual core processor, which is clocked at 2 GHz speed. Like many other Asus devices, this also has Intel inside, and it's got 2 GB of RAM and 16 GB of memory. You can see the RAM here, which is 2 GB of RAM, and the memory is 16 GB, of which is 12 GB is usable. And the benchmark results are not that great, but just the numbers. When you actually use the device, it's pretty good, and I found no issues with playing graphics or even high-end 3D games. And let me show you some examples here. You can see the graphics are pretty neat. There are no jagged edges around the cars, and the device itself is quite sensitive. Try and look at the sky and the backdrop, which is kind of pretty much detailed. So in a 3D game, if the device is not supported, you won't see the background details as much. So let me open up another game. So in this game, though the experience is pretty smooth, the graphics are not that rich. Got some jagged edges around it. These are basically the results which I got running the benchmark results, and as you see, the benchmark scores are not that great. It's pretty low in the ranking, but I wouldn't base my judgment on these benchmark results, because this device is actually performing much better than I expected it to. The Asus Zenfone runs on the Zen UI, skinned on top of Android 4.3. Before we talk about the UI on the performance front, I find no lag, frame jump or frame freeze. It is very smooth and buttery, and it's kind of very fast. So it is not consuming much resources, and the UI is actually giving a better experience overall. Okay, now the Zen UI. Let me start from this lock screen. So the lock screen is not the most intuitive screens we have seen, but it's definitely user friendly, and I like this little graphic when you kind of try to unlock your device. It puts a spotlight on your finger, and basically lets you unlock the device by swiping in any direction. And they have some shortcuts like the camera, dialer and the messaging, which lets you go to the application directly from here. And also you have the calendar schedule here, and let me unlock it. And in the home screen you have the app desk, wherein you can lay out your widgets and the shortcuts, and also folders, intelligent folders. And Asus has some pre-installed applications like the calendar, do it later. It's basically a task manager, and the gallery app is revamped to it's not the stock Android experience, and we have some custom contact application. There's a power saver mode which is pretty good, and I found it to increase the battery by about up to 50%. And we have a file manager and a super note taker. Super note taker lets you take notes even when you're on the call. And we have a calculator, we have a clock. The web storage Asus offers like 4 GB of storage free for lifetime, and also you have the audio wizard which lets you set the different modes of audio, and we have this blended which basically helps you set the screen temperature and saturation. On the app drawer, so let me disable the smart grouping. If I disable the smart grouping, it's very much similar to a stock Android experience, but the moment you put on the smart grouping, the Zen UI automatically groups devices. The Zen UI automatically groups the applications, like for example books has Playbook and Kindle, and photography has something related to photography, and all the games are grouped under games, and these are all like intelligent grouping. So the notification tray has two parts, which is the system notification, as it is self-explanatory. It gives up the notification like your email, messaging or call notifications, and also the rest is quick setting. So the quick setting is where we see a lot of customization, and it has icons which are rounded icons which resemble iOS to a little extent, and the first row is having some shortcut up to applications, like you can switch on the flashlight, you can boost the memory of the device. So let me say the memory has been released, and you have a calculator shortcut and a quick memo shortcut. So apart from this, we have the actual quick setting links, which is the owner, which gives information about the owner of the device, and you can turn on, turn off Wi-Fi, you can turn on, turn off the auto rotate feature, you can switch different sound modes, and one-handed operation is pretty interesting. So when I have this one-handed operation, the entire phone UI becomes small here, and I can easily use the phone with my single-handed. And there is 3 settings for it: 4.3 inch for device, 4.7 inch and 4.5 inch. And the other thing is like switch on GPS, airplane, mobile data, and from here directly I can switch on smart saving and reading mode, which I explained earlier, and you can enable Wi-Fi hotspot and the Bluetooth, and you can cast your screen to other devices using a Miracast. And glove mode basically increases sensitivity of your display, and you can switch on there's different SIM cards here. So I have only one SIM card, so it's only one icon is there. So if you have 2 SIM cards, I can enable or disable the other SIM card using the toggle button here. And you have the auto brightness on top here. So apart from this, we have the dialer, which is customized for Zen UI, which is pretty basic, but the only difference is it allows you to record calls both incoming and outgoing. Though I would have been happy to see pure Android experience on this device, the Zen UI has no major issues. It is light on resources and doesn't tamper with the basic Android user experience. Okay, the camera. Zenfone 6 has a 13 megapixel camera sensor with a 5-element lens and a wide f2.0 aperture. The technology is called Pixel Master, and it's a combination of software, algorithms and hardware to give better images. So let me show you the camera UI here. First comment would be this is a great camera UI, and that's a turbo mode. So when I enable the turbo mode, I can take a bunch of images and I can choose the best among these images. And here we have multiple settings. So one is the auto mode, the time rewind feature, which takes a couple of photos before you actually click the shutter button, and a couple of images after you click the shutter button. So I don't know how they do it, but it's quite intelligent, and this feature is really good, especially when you're clicking a fast moving subject like your kid or some car or some sports photos. And the HDR mode is not that great, and it's self-explanatory. And we have a panorama mode, which is really good. I'll show you some sample images. Do check out the sample images when I post them in the detailed review. And the night mode and light mode and low light images are pretty similar, but the difference is in a light mode you still can have a 13 megapixel image, but you need a tripod or a firm stand to take a night mode. And so basically the low light mode is an enhanced night mode. So It lets you take images at 3 megapixel resolution, and it also kicks in automatically. It detects the light in the subject, and it lets you switch to owl mode very easily. And it basically a high ISO image, and it shoots images even at very low light, and it gives you a bright image. And the selfie mode is pretty interesting, because in a selfie mode you can use your primary camera to take the image, and you just select the number of faces that's going to be there in the image, and once that all the faces are detected, the 3 images are shot, and you can choose the best. The miniature mode is just an effect, and the depth of field is another effect which introduces an artificial depth of field to the subject. And also you have the smart remove, so you can remove unwanted image or in the background. So for let's say you're in a park and you're taking an image, and there's an old man walking in the background, and if you want to remove that particular man, you can just use the smart remove feature and remove any subject which is unwanted in the image. And the all smiles mode is useful when you're taking a group shot, and if one guy is kind of droopy, you can choose his face and choose the best of his face in the image, and you can save it and share it. And you have the beautification mode, which lets you enlarge the eyes, tighten the cheekbone, add a blush or something like that. So it's another marketing gimmick. So but the best feature which I like among all these modes is the GIF animation, which lets you shoot a small animated video and save them as GIF animation. But in the modes we have some effects like the grayscale, negative, sepia, edge effect, lomo, and a bunch of other effects. And you have the settings. The settings are easily grouped under 3 different categories: the image settings, the video settings, and the general settings. And in the image setting, you can see that you can control the white balance here, you can control the ISO, exposure value, and also you can choose the camera resolution, and you can choose to have the anti-shake enhancement. So this device doesn't have an optical image stabilization, but in turn it provides a software enhanced anti-shake feature. And also you can choose the image quality there, and from that in the video you can choose the same kind of exposure and white balance for your video shots, and you can choose to have video stabilization as well. And the video quality is ranging from full HD video to 480p TV quality shot. And you have other features, other settings here. But the overall the camera UI is pretty neat, and the user need not hunt for different functions, and it's very easily laid out, and switching on a camera is also pretty fast. So from your lock screen, so this is how quickly you can reach your camera here and immediately take a shot. The image quality, let me show you some images to show you the image quality. This shot was taken in low light mode, wherein the owl kicked in, and you can see the quality of image, though there was very little light in this situation, and you can see some jaggedness in the edges, but that's alright. So on a low light situation I wouldn't expect much. And also this is a full light situation, and you can see the edges are pretty sharp. And you have this shot was also taken in a full light situation, and you can see how the blacks, grays, and the whites are treated here. There is no artificial saturation or artificial enhancement to the images. It's all pretty natural. And this one was shot in complete low light with the owl mode on, and you can see the image quality is not pretty sharp, but considering that there was absolutely no light in this room, and this shot has come out really good, and I was fascinated. And this shot I was trying to test the depth of field, and I found that I actually focused in this letter here, and I wanted to get an out of focus effect in the other letters and the balloon there, but they were all in focus, and you had to use something like a miniature depth of field mode to get that effect, I believe. And this is a miniature mode. You can see that the subject looks like something out of a miniature movie. And this one I was trying to take a macro shot. There is no dedicated macro mode, but this lens lets you go as close as 10 centimeters to your subject, and the shots are pretty decent, not that great. And this is again to show you a difference between a HDR mode and normal mode. In the normal mode, you can see that the darker areas are pretty dark, and in the HDR mode, even the darker areas is coming out good, but there is no dramatic improvement in the images, and it's quite natural, but it's not that great when you compare to other HDR modes in other cameras. This one I tried taking the selfie mode there, and the shot was taken in complete darkness using the flash. You can see how sharp the images is. You can see the letters have come out pretty sharp here, and also these were taken under low light situation. And this is the GIF animation I was talking about. Okay, running out of battery. So finish this review soon. So this is the GIF animation I was talking about. You can see that this image is stored as GIF, and I can share them. It's not a video file, it's a GIF image here, so you can see it's a .gif file here, and it's like 19 MB in size, but I'm sure I'll have to use some optimization, GIF optimization software to kind of reduce the size here, but still it's a good feature. And this is a image which I used with, I shot with the depth of field mode. So you can see that the depth of field is artificially the depth of field is artificially introduced here, and it's not very pleasing, but for an amateur photographer this feature is it's good. I mean, and also there are a lot of editing functionalities in the UI, so there's some basic editing you can do, like you can rotate your image, you can crop it, you can give some saturation, or you can give some modes here. You can add some borders, you can increase the exposure, you can add some vignetting. So all these coming out of the software, and there is no extra app that is installed here yet. But out of the box, the camera UI is really great. The camera images are pretty decent, and I have nothing to complain, especially considering that this device is priced at a very low price band of 17,000 rupees. And the battery, let me show you the battery statistics. So I can it takes pretty long time to charge, so time taken to charge is like 2 hours, but in reality it took like 3 to 4 hours to charge, and to discharge completely it took like 18 to 19 hours. And I would say that this battery is pretty decent, considering that this is quite a large device, and it's got a 6-inch display, and I had the 3G always on, and with a few calls and a few minutes of browsing and a few minutes of gaming, this device lasted for one day, almost a day, with a single charge. And when the power saving mode is also on, the smart saving power saving mode is when it is on, the battery juice is dramatically increased by another extra 50%. So this is 3300 mAh lithium polymer battery, and it offers good backup for this device of this size. And in my concluding words, I would say that this is a good device. It's not a great device, it's not the best we have seen in the in this year, but considering that we don't have much devices in this size priced at this price band, so this device is a pretty decent buy and a good value for money. And Zenphones, Asus Zenphones are typically known for their good value for money, and the build quality is not premium, and it's not cheap as well. It's pretty decent, and the performance is decent, and overall it's a decent phone, and it's a decent buy. If you are really keen on buying a Android phablet, so you can go in for the Zen 6. So that's a gadget detail recommendation. So thanks for watching the video. This is Giridhar signing off. If you like the video, hit the like button here, and you can also subscribe to our channel. So this is Gadget, and do check out more videos and more reviews in the site gadgetdetail.com. Thank you.